Well, welcome back to Springheel's speed build. When we left off last video, I noticed that we were at 2 hours and 32 minutes, which is not quite as speedy as I had hoped. I may have bitten off a little bit more than I can chew here. So I'm going to see if I can do a little bit less talking and a little bit more building today just to speed things up. I know when I left off last I said that we would be putting the ceiling brushwork around the map, and we will do that. But I would like to put some lighting in this area first. This area doesn't have any lighting, and when I get to the point of wandering around to test the ceiling brushwork, it would be nice to see some lights in here. So we're going to drop a few in. Let's get started. And I'm going to use, I've been looking at the prefabs, and I didn't see a whole lot that I could use. Actually, there is one that I know I've used before, this hanging oil light. So we are going to use a couple of these. But for the rest, we're going to have to use entities. Now, hold on, let's do our management here. Let's move this to layer living quarters, and let's turn the default off and the side halls off, so that we don't have any distractions. And I think these are going to hang, got two of these, one here and one, actually, hold on, we'll just do the one for the moment. And we'll put it up near the ceiling. And because it would bug me a little bit too much to have that hanging just from the bare ceiling, I am going to put a very thin brush here, just to be a little bit of bracing on the ceiling. Make it a bit wider and give it a texture, just so that it looks like a beam that this can hang from. So yeah, we can do that and then hang it just from there. And then we'll copy that and we'll move it down to here. So we'll have two of those hanging lights. And then I think I want some lights at the bottom here. Oops, what am I doing? Not that. I'm going to use an entity. I think that's the first time I've done this during the map. So model light static, oil lamps, and dirty metal should work. Or rusty. Oh, there was a hanging rusty. Well, okay, let's do this. And we will, these entities come with lights already attached to them, which is great. You just can't see them in the Windows, or the lighting preview mode. So you don't know exactly how well they're lighting. You can see regular lights, but these don't. You can see there's no light visible here because it is spawned when the game begins. And so while that's handy, it's very easy to add, it's not so good when you want to know what the effect of the light's going to be. But I've used these a lot in other maps, so I'm confident that they will light about the right amount. Just want to make sure that they're not floating out from the wall too much. There. Okay. So I'll put two at the bottom of the stairs. Oops. And let's put two at the top of the stairs. So we'll clone that. Slide them over to the top and raise them. Oops. What happened there? Let's raise them up to about there, thereabouts. That should be good. Don't want to put these too high or they don't light the floor very well. Okay, so we'll put those lights there, and then I think let's take some of those hanging lights. Where'd they go? One of these. Oh, I lost it for a minute. And these. Copy those and we'll do the same thing. We'll move them over here and we'll move them up. And Let's just double check that they're at the right height. Oh, what did we do here? Did we select a wall that we didn't mean to select? Yes, we did. Don't know how that happened, but we definitely do not want to have selected that wall. And great, where is, I'll have to check and make sure I didn't accidentally duplicate that wall, because if you duplicate a wall, if you duplicate a model when you go in game, it's super bright when there's two models in the same area. Okay, so there and up, and let's just select one of those models there so we know how tall it should be. And we'll move it up to there. Is that right? Nope, not high enough. There, that'll do. Okay, so there is our lighting done. Now, let's go back to layers. Now, there's, you know what, let's just get rid of this because we're going to be putting ceiling brushwork around. We really don't need this giant box around anymore, so let's get rid of that. It doesn't get in the way. And let's turn side walls on. Now we're going to start doing some of the ceiling and oh yeah, I was going to do a floor texture on here. Let's just hide all the entities for a minute. Okay, so this is the floor down here, and I wanted to give it a different texture because that texture doesn't work terribly well for floors. Dark mod, wood, but I'm not going to spend too much time picking something really good or worrying about aligning it, so I'm going to default to an old favorite of mine, which is Worn 01, which looks, oh, got a little bit of Z fighting here. Let's just fix that while we're here. Okay, what grid level are we on? Grid snap. Okay, that will do. Okay, so let's put the entities back on, and that will do fine for a floor. We'll do the same thing up here. Select this. Should be in here now, so we can just do that. And it's in there too. Good. That's good enough for a floor. For a ceiling, oh wait, didn't get in the center. Let's get this. And let's just hide all the entities again, so we make sure we've got all the floors. It didn't get this. And didn't get this. And did it? That's a ceiling. Okay, so the ceiling, I think what I want to do, let's turn this back on, is, well, you know what? I don't want to do anything with the ceiling right now. I'll care about ceilings if there's time. Okay, so let's go, oh, there's a floor we missed. Let's go and do what we've been talking about here and do some world ceiling geometry. So let's go back to default as our default layer. And here's how we're going to do this. Let's go back here. Now at the moment, these are all entities, all of this stuff. In fact, if I were to hide everything, you will see that there's almost nothing here. The only thing that is here is the ceiling, and because the AI cannot walk on this and it's not going to have any impact on sealing anything, I am going to select it all and turn it to a func static. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that when I get rid of the entity layer, it gets rid of pretty much everything in this entire area. So now we're going to go to a grid of 4 for this, and I'm going to draw out a brush that is big enough that it encompasses the entire warehouse. And I want this to be in between the walls here and here. I don't want it to be showing through the wall, so we're going to put a texture on it. Let's put this so that when we go here and turn around, if it's poking through the wall, we would be able to see it. Now it shows through the door, but it's not poking through the wall, which is good. Go over here and look through the wall, not poking through the wall, good. It's higher than the roof, it's lower than the floor, so now we're just going to do this, hollow. And now this makes a series of walls. And now this entire area, if we were to filter the entities again, everything is contained within this giant square, so nothing inside here can leak to the outside. Okay, so far so good. Now we're going to deselect. We'll start back here where the player starts. We're going to grab this wall, and now I'm going to pull this wall over so that it encompasses this side room. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hollow it. Now this does include a lot of area that the player can't get to, but since no sounds can come from here, this extra space doesn't really do anything. So I'm not going to worry about tightening it up. I'm just going to leave it like this, which means now this side room is completely encased. So we have this wall in the middle that blocks the door, and here's what we're going to do for that. I'm going to take this, use the clipper tool, and do this. We're going to clip this so that it is clipped to about the width of the door with a little bit extra. I like to step back away from the model a little bit just to make sure we got lots of room. And this, in the center, we're going to turn to a viz portal. And now I know it sticks down below the floor. That's not going to cause us any problems. I could have moved this further up, but we are going to have a brush floor underneath, and I just want to make sure that there's no chance that this will not seal. We may have to, or the only thing we have to do rather, is just make sure that all of our viz portals come down to touch this bottom brush. Okay, so there's our first viz portal, and so when we undelete that, you can see now that the player can freely travel from one to the other. Okay, next we're going to do the same thing over here. So we're going to grab this one. Now here we have to be a little bit more careful where we put it because we don't want it to show through the wall. So we'll move to about there, and we will do the same thing, hollow. And now we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to cut a hole through the door, and we're going to make that a viz portal. Oops. Come on. Okay. It's always when you're in a hurry that the simplest things stop working. Okay, now are we selected? Yes, thank you. Now let's do this. Okay, and select up here. Good. Turn this to a viz portal. And now we have our access way through there. Sound travels through viz portals, which is why it's important to put them correctly in doorways, even if there's no physical door there. You don't want sound to travel through the wall, which is what it will do. Okay, so now we have to move on to this area here, the inside. So let's do this. We're now going to draw a new brush. Oops, if we're not on the clipper tool. Come on, did I not click that? Here we go. And since this is just ceiling geometry and it's not visible, I'm not too worried about whether it clips. If there's Z fighting in this stuff, it doesn't really matter one way or the other. It does matter that it's tall enough, and we'll raise this up a little bit. Okay, so let's do now a hollow of this. Now here, we're going to have two of these walls, but that is okay. I'm going to select the frame here, and we're going to select this one here, and then we will hide the frame, and we'll be clipping both brushes. And clipping both brushes there, and clipping both brushes, say here. Good. Now we're going to keep the one that touches the door because viz portals have to touch the door. So we're going to get rid of that one, and we're going to turn this one into a viz portal, but, oh no, it does go down all the way to the bottom. Okay. But it doesn't touch that wall, it touches this wall, right? I want to make sure it's the right one. Okay, good. That should work, and if it doesn't, we'll find out when we do our tests. So nothing now is blocking there. Okay, so now we have our box around the outside here. Next, we know these rooms go on both floors, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing here. And make sure that this is a 2-story so that it goes to the same height as the other ones. Actually, don't know where the other ones went. Doesn't matter if it goes higher. I should probably be putting this stuff on. Let's switch layers here. Let's move this to layer living quarters, and we'll put living quarters as the default again, just so that the other stuff is not there to distract us. Now this we're going to see the no, I need to find out where that other brush is. How? Why is this? Oh, of course it's so low because I cut it. Okay, so it does go all the way to the top. Let's move these to layer living quarters as well, just because I need to know where the top is so that everything else we draw can go to that height. There we go. And can go down to the same level as that. So that is the lowest thing. Let's make sure this goes down to the lowest as well. Okay then, so now, did we hollow this out? I don't believe we did. Hollow. And now this goes up both rooms. And because these rooms already have brush floors, I'm hoping the brush floors will seal this. So let's get rid of all the entities for a minute. And if this does not, I'm going to make sure that it does, that it's large enough that it touches all the way around. Because again, if there's Z fighting behind walls, that is not a problem. And that's going to be behind a wall, right? Yeah. So I don't have to worry about that. Although, okay, all or nothing. Now, what about the area in between? So let's select this brush so that the next brush is the same height. We're going to do it right in the middle here. Let's get rid of all the entities so we can make sure we're matching up, and we are. And I think that will do nicely. It goes from top to bottom. Good. So those are our middle rooms sealed off now, although we have to put doorways. So let's start here. Actually, you know what we need to do? Let's take this. Actually, let's hide all the entities because we have to cut these walls in half now, just to make it easier to do what we need to do next. So let's take the floor off, and we're going to cut these in half right here. Good. Okay, now turn on so we know where the heck we are. Hide the door, select, hide everything else. And we will cut this to fit the door. Say there, and here, and there. And we'll make this a viz portal, and then move on to the next one. Where's the next door? Here. And so we will cut here. I know this must be very exciting watching. Oh, and we've already cut it that same brush for the other door, so that part's already done. So now come on, make this a vis portal. So that's the two upstairs doors. We haven't done the bedroom door, but that's the two upstairs doors. Now the two downstairs doors. Okay, and here's where we're going to flip this. Let's see. Oh, okay, I'm clicking on it, and then I'm trying to flip it. Good, it does flip this time. Maybe you have to click in the surface and not up here, like you could in the old version. All right, and so we're going to do... Now, wait a minute. This is the bottom floor. That's okay. Clip, so it doesn't matter if our portal goes a little bit under the floor. Clip here, and vis portal. And where is the... Oh, that's the door. Okay, that's a doorway in between the two rooms. That's right. So we do need to have vis portal there so that the sound travels properly between the two rooms. And now we're back to flipping this. And we'll do that. And that. Make vis portal. One more to go. That's already chopped like that. Okay, make vis portal. Now that should be everything but the this room here, the bedroom. So we're going to add that next, and we will just make that a regular brush that goes like this. Oh. And it is an upper floor. We'll go all the way up to this brush. Actually, no, this is self-contained. We don't have to go up to that brush. And in fact, we don't really want to go any lower than the floor. Let's go into this room. The floor is here. So let's make sure that this is inside the floor, which it is. And then we can do this hollow. And now we have to cut this to make a vis portal here. Now there will be another brush on the other side, right? So let's, if we make this the vis portal, because I think it doesn't really touch the door. So isn't there one on this side? No, what happened to our wall on this side? Have I got all the layers on? Oh, I don't, that's why. Okay, so default. So there is a wall here, and I think this is the one that we're going to put the vis portal in. Although we will have to cut it. So first let's do it like this. And then we'll do it that. And this. And we'll cut it here as well, because we don't really want this to go too far down. And let's just hide all the entities to make sure that we actually have a good transition here. So when we go from one room to the next, what do we have going on here? Oh, these walls completely overlap, so they will Z-fight like crazy, but no one will see them, so I'm not going to care. They will still seal properly, and that's all that I'm worried about. Okay, so everything should be should be sealed now properly, and we even have some viz portals in there, although not all the viz portals that we're going to place. But that is a good start. Now, I had said I wanted to do something in here with the textures, but you know what? I think I don't have time really to get too particular about skins, so I'm just going to select the same skin. If we want to have a fake wall of some kind behind there, it would be easier to do it if it was the board texture than if it was some other texture. Alright, good for now. Alright, so we're picking back up again, and I'm going to do a little bit more work inside the living quarters here before I move on to testing the ceiling geometry that we put in. Speaking of a different kind of ceiling, looks like we have missed that. I wonder if it's like that on the other side. Not sure how that happened, but we'll move that over there like that. And while we're at it, we'll just throw that texture on it. It's already on here because when I put it on the floor above, I selected the whole brush, so we might as well match it. It looks decent enough as a default ceiling, and that is all I want to do with the ceilings. Okay, so let's start with these rooms on the bottom floor. So I've thought a little bit about what I want these to be. This is a connecting room here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these rooms because they are Control-click, living quarters, because they are not super important to what's going on, especially these ones in the middle here. So we're just going to look for some things to decorate these, and I want to start with some bedding. This is a living quarter, so we want to have some places for the thugs to sleep, and I think I like the look of that one a little better. So we will put this, actually let's hide everything but living quarters. And where are we going here? Let's hide everything but that. And we'll put this on the ground like that, and maybe rotate them so that they're facing this way, and we'll put 1, 2, if we put 3, that one's going to have to be sticking out a little bit or it will clip into the wall, and that's a little bit close together, so let's not do that. We'll just do 2. They can sleep in shifts, maybe move that in a little bit. And okay, what else can we put in these areas here? Let's see what else kind of prefabs we've got. Furniture. What about shelving? Books I want to stay away from. It's not really a kitchen. Simple room supplies. Something like that could work. A wall shelf. Maybe we will put something like that against the wall. Maybe here. Enough so that it's not going to get hit by the door, and we'll lower it down. So it's something kind of like that. Gets a little bit of something on the wall. And what else can we find here? These are more kitchen, probably not. Standing generic, sure. We could put one of those maybe right here. Yeah, why not? And let's clone that just for the heck of it. Move it in here. We'll flip one around and put it in this corner here. And then let's get, there was 2, so let's get the other one. And we'll put it like that. What grid am I on? Oh, no wonder. Don't want to be quite that small. And then, so we've got some shelves in here, a little shelving area. Great. Will players notice that they're exactly the same shelf? I don't know. If it's too noticeable in game, we'll change it. But for now, I'm okay with that. Now, this is going to be some kind of room. I imagine them playing games of some kind. I also like the idea of maybe a weapon rack, because these are thugs. Can we put some kind of weapons over here? Maybe up against the wall? Where are we? Yeah, will the door clip into that? I don't know. We'll have to check and see. How far over can I move it without clipping into anything? Probably about that far. Yeah, we'll do that and then see. I want to rotate this because I don't like the mace and the axe quite as much as I like the sword models. So sure, let's see how that works. What else can we put in these rooms? Wine racks, no. Stacked chairs, why not? Maybe we'll put some stacked chairs on the floor here. Just to take up a little bit of room along the wall. Again, we'll have to check with the door that the door doesn't hit that, but I think we'll be okay. I'll shift it over just a bit. What else can we put in here? Privies, new. Let's see. What about pipes? Pipes thin. That will especially work well on this floor because it can stick through the floor. If we do it on the upper floor, it won't be able to do that so much. Let's put one of those by the bed. And maybe we'll put it right there and lower it down into the floor a little bit because we don't want it to be quite so high on the wall, and move it out just enough there. Okay. And what about there? What can we put? What other kinds of things are there that we could use? Water generators are going to be too big for in here. Let's see what we have under junk. Random junk, that might look good. Room junk. Let's put this between the bed and the wall. Okay. Can we see the spilled bottles? Good. Yeah, that's good. Let's do that. It also has a light on it, which will save us some time. That covers most of the area in this room. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's grab these same pipes, clone them, and we'll put them over in this area too. Maybe right, we'll turn them and place them, come on, place them here. Close enough that they're not clipping too much, but just touching the wall. Good. Okay, or we can actually come one out from there. Good enough. All right. Now, oh, I was looking for tables. Let's go to, well, I kind of like the idea maybe of a lot of empty wine bottles, so let's grab this. We'll put it on the floor and then decide where we want to put it later. Let's see what we can do for a table. Furniture, beds, tables. Okay. Simple games, simple used. That's got some eating, that's got some game playing. I like the idea maybe of them playing games in here, so why don't we use that? And we'll position this in the corner and put it on the floor. Yeah, sure, that's pretty good. And then what about this other junk we just brought in here? Where's a good spot for that? Maybe we'll put that like right beside the table. Oops. Like maybe I didn't quite know where to put it, but it's just been moved out of the way. Sure, good enough. That looks like it comes with a light as well. And I think maybe what we'll do is throw a wall light onto each of these. Create light. Oh, no. Not create light. Create insert prefab and then go to lights. And we'll use just a little candle, sconce candle. And we'll put it up against the wall. These rooms don't need to be lit very much, but we do want a little bit of lighting on the wall, I think. And I need, because this has a patch on it, what happened to that patch? Why is that patch so thin? That's weird. Ungroup. That patch is not supposed to be like that, it's supposed to be like that. And probably down quite a bit too. I don't know what happened there. I group that back up, move it up against the wall, and there. Good enough. And clone. And let's move it perfectly sideways so that we can, oh, we don't want to put it, maybe we won't have one in that room because it's going to be behind the shelf if we do. You know what? Screw it. We won't put one there. Okay. That's going to have to be enough for these rooms. And let's go above now into these rooms. And these rooms I kind of want to just be basic storage rooms. So we're just going to fill these with junk. So let's go back to our junk. Random junk. That looks good. We want just to make sure there's stuff that would fit through a door. Otherwise, I'm not too worried about what it is. People are not living in these rooms. This is just going to be a junk area. But it's okay for it to be a little bit more like household junk instead of industrial junk. So that's good there. What else we got? That would be good, but it's a bit small. Ah, it looks like it's got some good stuff there. Oh, that's a little big, but that's okay. We'll live with it. And once again, we'll have to manually floor it. Now that cloth, that no-draw cloth there is to keep the player from getting stuck if they try to walk over top of those sacks. So I'll put those there. All right. So far, so good. And you know what? I'm just going to copy this because I like this one a lot. I'm going to move it over here and rotate it. So it goes along the wall like this in that room. And let's see, what other junk can we put in here? I think we need one more piece of junk in the corner. Sure. Put some packages. And once again, I can't see the floor until I do this. This is what needs to be on the floor, so the package is quite a bit sunk into the floor. I don't know why, but I'm also not too worried about it. Okay, so there's our nice little room of junk. And now let's move over here. Fill in our other room of junk. Why don't we use this room junk? We didn't get a chance to do that downstairs. So many lines there. Okay, that's good. And what else? Create more junk. Any good wall junk? I don't know if I want pallets up here. That's a little big. That's pretty good, but we want stuff that's a little high. Yeah, there we go. Something like that will be perfect. Not in front of the door. We'll move it over into the corner here. Once again, put the crates on the floor, move that into the corner. Good, okay, so we have another room mostly full of junk. It could use something along the wall there. So let's take a look at our wall of junk. No, that's outdoor, outdoor. Mostly outdoor, kind of outdoor. Okay. We'll use that. So let's take this and lower this down to, why do we have so much selected here? I want everything but that gone. And I'll bring it down like that. And where's the door? Door's there. That's not where I want that. I want that leaning against this wall, right? Now, how close do I have to get for them to lean? What is this? Oh, that's... Okay, unhide, and how does that look? Yeah, okay. Another junk room. Okay, I think that will look pretty good. We might need to put some kind of light in here, or we could just leave that unlit. I mean, it's a junk room. Might throw a little bit of loot in there for the player. Now this room, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with this room yet. I assume there's going to be a bed. It's a rather large room. So probably a bed and some furnishings, couches or something. I'm going to have to give this a little bit of thought before we come back and do this. So this will be the last room that we decorate, and then we'll be ready to start demapping the map, see if there's any leaks, and then do our first run through. So once again, thanks for watching and happy mapping.